Good afternoon, everybody. This is my first hangout, and a lot of you guys know me from either YouTube or being on the J7409 hangout, and which is awesome. And today I'm going to be talking to Jay, who's my special guest, and her and I are going to discuss some things. I got some questions for you, Jay, and if you don't mind answering.
Okay, if I feel comfortable, I will. If I don't, I'll say I'll slide by, okay?
Don't worry, nothing personal or imposing or anything like that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. I know that you're really big into astronomy, and you know, what was it that compelled you to further this need to, you know, really study it further?
My mother.
Your mom?
My mother, and she always loved astronomy, and she always loved the study of the universe. And as a kid, I kind of grew up watching the stars and the planets, and after I got older and had sowed my wild oats, as you might say, as we all do, I finally decided to further my education in astronomy.
And so far it's been pretty rewarding, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got a great YouTube channel, for one, because it's not just like space things, it's everything. It's all kinds of stuff, and I definitely appreciate that.
Well,
I myself am a boring little vlogger. I don't have time to do the editing like I used to. So, okay, since you've been studying and doing YouTube videos, have you been noticing almost like an uptick on different kinds of sightings? Or, you know, I know that you've seen some UFOs and stuff, but have you noticed that, you know, it almost seems like now that you're paying attention, do you see more than you ever have?
It's really strange, or funny, I should say, you asked that question. When I was a kid, oh man, I wanted to see something and know what it was, and I never saw anything. I never saw anything when I was a kid. But now that I've got older, and I really do look at the sky mostly every day of my life, with weather permitting. Yes, I see more things, but it's like I don't see something every day. I don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. I don't see, and I'm talking about out of the ordinary things. I don't see out of the ordinary things every day, every week, or maybe every month. It's like when I see them, and it's a matter of being at the right place at the right time. When other people say they see things, I always believe them until I know for a fact that maybe that wasn't what they saw, you know? Because it is a matter of timing, where you are, being at the right place at the right time. Doesn't mean everybody in the entire world is going to see it. One person in the world might see it. 1,000 people might see it. Nobody might not see it. Doesn't mean it wasn't there. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
That's good. That's good. You live by the water, obviously. You live close to the ocean. Now, do you think that could, because I know the time that I've known you, you have seen some amazing, amazing natural and unnatural occurrences. Do you think the water has anything to do with it, like the ocean?
You know, I cannot give you an honest answer of yes or no on that because I have no factual proof either way.
But in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think that it is a draw. But like I say, I have no proof of that, and I'm not proclaiming that it makes a difference. I'm just saying, I guess because I live here and I have had the opportunity to see many different objects in the sky at some point, I guess that's why I lean towards yes.
Okay, that's great. What made you start wanting to do YouTube videos about this?
I thought that people should know about these things. You know, so many people that I have met in my lifetime have seen things that are different, whether it would be on earth or in the sky. And they're afraid to tell somebody because, oh, you're crazy, you're cracked, you're a Looney Tune. And you know the drift.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't tell somebody, you'll never understand. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. People won't ever understand when they see something. They won't get the message they should tell somebody. The more people who see things, let it out. The more you let it out, the more everyone has to come to one big happy medium to, yes, there are things that are unexplainable in the sky.
Okay. And I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding the UFO phenomenon. Okay. I've seen UFOs. I've seen UFOs. My first one I saw was I want to say probably 11 or 12. I'm not, I don't remember, I'm getting feeble here. And, but no, I saw my first one, and I told everybody because I thought it was really neat, and so many people are like, give this stereotype, like, you're insane, you're crazy, would you smoke before you went to school, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And, yeah, it was ridiculous. But there's a lot of also controversy on a level as far as a spiritual thing. Some people think that they're fallen angels. Some people think they are angels from heaven. I mean, there's all different kinds of things like that. I personally, I'll give my opinion and you use yours. I think these are just people, and I'll say people because it's the only way to describe it, just like us, but a lot more advanced, a lot. And I believe that we on Earth are the babies. We are the babies, definitely.
Well, there's so many different roads we could take with that, Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Some people believe, like you say, they are fallen angels. Some people believe the fallen angels have already fallen. Some people believe that these are extraterrestrials. Some people believe that these are spirits. I kind of lean towards this when it comes to when you see orbs. There's so many orbs that are in the sky each and every night. You might not see them every night, but they're there, trust me. And on a really clear night, you will see, I have seen as many as 50 different orbs before in one night. I have a few people that come over and watch the sky with me. They've seen them also. And I believe, or I lean towards to believe, that these orbs are spirits. Don't ask me what kind, I don't know. I'm not up like our friend Santana on all the colors and what they mean and this and all the other. I don't know. But I do believe that they are spirits. I've seen orbs intersect and one go through another one. And either orb and neither orb ever split. I've got videos from 3 years back on orbs going within each other and never splitting. And to me, I think that's kind of like a spirit, okay? That's just what I lean towards. When it comes to extraterrestrials or aliens or whatever you choose to call them, I believe there is a really good, like 99.9% chance there could be life somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Okay? There were many, many, many things going on that just makes me think that there probably is life somewhere else. God made Earth. God made us. God made the universe. So, my question is, God can do whatever He chooses. How do we know He didn't choose to put someone somewhere else? He may or he may not have. I don't know. But never rule out anything until you're sure.
You're absolutely right. And think about what a lonely place it would be if it was just us. You know, there'd be nothing to do with our imagination, or it just would be very dismal existence, I would think. But
Well, some of these videos that I've seen people make, and some of the things that I've seen myself, this isn't imagination. This is real.
oh, I know how you feel. Definitely, we're like together on this.
Hmm.
But I think other people need to know like these kind of things from you, because you are. I don't know if this is just because I'm your friend or what, but you're the one that people go to when they need a real scientific explanation of things. And I think that's what makes your channel so good, is because it's more scientific. It's not all happy, fluffy graphics. It's get to the point. And I think a lot of people would enjoy that. I really do.
Well, thank
So
you, Don. Thank you,
you are
Don.
most welcome. You're most welcome.
I I always do this. I always, when I do see something, or when I see where someone else has seen something unusual, I always go back and research and really try to find what it is. Before I open my mouth, I should say. It's like so many things. It seems like each day of our life now, things get faster and more complicated and more technical. And it's easy just to say, well, this is this, and I know this is what this is. But let me tell you, it takes many, many, many hours of research to be sure of what it could be. There's so many things in the sky and beyond where we can see with our eyes. It's phenomenal.
You're right. You're right.
You may see something that looks like a UFO, and it may turn out to be a nebula. It might not be a nebula. Then again, you see things, and when they start blinking and moving, they are UFOs for the most part. There's no dodging around that. You just don't know what they are. Then you see things. We always have our governments, and I say governments, not just singling out one, who have things in the air, and we haven't heard about them. They're not going to tell us what they are. You got to dig and dig and dig and dig. You might not know what they are, but you might find out the name of them if you dig far enough, looking in a certain space of the sky. So a whole lot of research has to go in everything before you can honestly say, unless you see something that is very phenomenal and it really doesn't match anything you've ever heard of in the sky, then, my friends, yes, it's a UFO, an unidentified flying object. I'm not saying there's little green men or red men or pink men or anything else in it. But if it's something that cannot be explained, it is unidentified.
That is true. That is very true. I saw a thing, and just a point I wanted to bring up about the orbs, okay? Now, I totally agree with what you're saying, because I've seen stuff. I lived up in the mountains for like 2 years, and I really could kick myself for not taking advantage of sky watching, because we lived on the top of one. And I do remember looking up, and it was like overwhelming. I mean, really, wow. You feel so tiny. I mean, I'm tiny anyway, but come on. But it was beautiful, and I could really kick myself. But I did see a video, and I don't think this could happen on a clear night, but there's that thing called ball lightning, and it does look a lot like what some of the people capture. I don't know if it has to happen during a storm or whatnot. I haven't done that much research on it, but I've seen ball lightning. I have. Usually they're closer, like, to the water and that kind of stuff, where there's more condensing, I think. But yeah, so that was just my theory on the whole ball lightning. Okay, if you don't mind, I'd like to skip over to my next topic, if you don't mind. Unless you want to say something else.
Oh, no, certainly.
All right.
Your show. You ask the question.
Thank you. Well, I hope I'm doing okay. We've got, it says one viewer. I'm sure it's Nick. Okay. When I first saw your videos, I was like, wow, this person is amazing. Okay, she knows everything about the things I would love to know about, you know. But you did this video, and it was more of a personal video, and it was about basically, who is J7409, you know. And you discussed about your accident that you had many years ago, and you had a near-death experience. And because I've had my own near-death experience, I felt that instant bond, instantly. It was really weird. And usually I shy away from people, you know, because it's like, who are you and what do you want, you know? But tell us a little bit more about that, if you don't mind. I know some people have a hard time discussing it, but...
Okay, Dawn. Well, first of all, no, I don't know a whole lot about everything. But thank you for thinking that anyway.
Well, you know what I mean. You know something about something.
But as far as my accident, who is J7409 in this accident? Well, J7409 is just a regular person, just like everybody else, who in her heyday did things she wasn't proud of, just like everybody else. I can't think of anybody who doesn't have some kind of skeleton in their closets.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But at the age of 13, I joined church and I was saved and baptized. And that never left me. Even in my heydays, it was still there. In other words, Jesus never left me. Well, I had an accident. It was a head-on collision. And I wasn't afraid. I just knew I was going to die. As a matter of fact, the first thing popped in my mind when this car pulled in my lane 8 feet in front of me was the next thing I'm going to see is Jesus. You didn't have time to be afraid, get scared, holler, scream, or any of that. It happened like that. Literally, all I had time to think was the next thing I'm going to see is Jesus. Well, right at that moment, I went somewhere. There was a pond, trees around the pond, and a stone bench. I felt wonderful. Health-wise, I felt like I was about 10 years old. I had the same clothes on I had in the accident. Everything was in color, and it was beautiful. So it was like a field, and I run over to the pond area. And then a voice starts talking to me. I hear this voice. It says, keep the faith, have patience, and in time, everything will be all right. Well, if this voice said it to me once, it said it 100 times. The same thing. Now, something I want everyone to know is, like, I was in broadcasting for 20 years. I had no patience. I had no patience.
I can imagine.
Everything has to run in broadcasting to fit in with your a second. Whether it's radio or television, it doesn't matter. It's got to be boom, 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 boom. No time for mess-ups. You don't mess up. No patience. I had zero tolerance for patience. Well, I started skipping around this pond looking for whoever was talking to me. I'd pull back limbs and look through the woods and just walk around the pond. When I got to walked around the whole pond, the very last limb I pulled back, there was the brightest light I have ever seen in my entire life. And then, boom, I was back in my truck. I was bleeding. I had a bone tore out of one of my arms. One of my arms was hanging by the skin. I had a foot cut off. I mean, I could go on all grades of stuff, but I'm not going to. But I remember when I was back in my truck, I didn't feel my body at all. And then I started feeling a tingle in my head, and it worked all the way down my body. And I say that was my soul coming back in my body.
I know exactly
And
what
I
you're
say
talking
that
about.
that voice, and I say, or this is what I believe rather, I believe the voice that was talking to me was none other than God. Well, I'm not going to go into everything, but it did. A year and a half of my life, I was flat on my back with both arms in a cast and both legs in a cast. I didn't have a mouth for over 6 months because this part was over here on the side of my face. I had to learn to have patience.
Oh yeah.
Is the moral of the story. It's like I kept faith, and I had to have patience. For a year and a half of my life, I had no one to feed. If someone didn't feed me or change me or whatever they had to do, it didn't get done. I couldn't do it. I had to learn how to do everything over just like a newborn baby. So I had patience, and everything did turn out all right. So
Hi,
God
Ray.
taught me what I needed to know. Patience. He taught me patience. And I have never been upset. I have never been angry in any way about my accident because I've always been so thankful just to be alive.
I definitely can relate to you on that. Um, Mine was a lot different, but I'll just briefly go into it and save the rest for another time. But, oh, hi, Ray.
Hi,
Hi.
Ray.
I'm sorry I'm late. I was sitting over on Dawn's Hangout, and I've been asking, is anybody home? And I've been waiting, and
I know.
I don't know how I ended up over in another place.
Well, we had some technical difficulties at first, but I think I got it now, so I think the next one will be good. But this is recording, so it's okay.
Oh, good.
It
Well, I
will be
was
up.
all by myself.
Sorry.
That's okay. What are we talking about?
Right now we're talking about near-death experiences.
Oh, been there.
Oh, you too.
Been there, yes, ma'am.
Do you mind sharing? Can you share?
Oh, sure I can share.
Okay, let's hear it.
It happened when I was 15 years old. I had to have didn't have to have a tonsillectomy, we know today. But back then, you had to have a tonsillectomy.
Right.
So went in for the tonsillectomy, and I kept telling my mom, it doesn't feel right. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. And she assured me that everything was going to be okay and that the doctor knew what he was doing. So I went in for the surgery, and I can remember, them putting me under. And then I remember going into this area where, people say a tunnel. It wasn't a tunnel, but it was a place where I could see a light. And I knew that I wanted to go to the light. And I started going towards it because I was afraid of the dark. And I heard voices. I heard like really nice voices around me, but I couldn't see anybody. And then I saw up ahead that there was somebody trying to stop me, like I could see their hand or an image telling me, slow down, stop. And I said, where am I going? And I didn't hear anything. Walked or whatever I was doing, moved forward a little bit further, and I heard someone say, it's not time. It's not time. And I said, I don't want to go back. I want to see what's up there, because it was really beautiful. Whatever I was looking at, and it wasn't like looking at a city or looking, I can't even really describe it. I just knew it was beautiful. And I was curious. I wanted to see what it was, and they wouldn't let me. And then I heard a phone ring, and I raised my head and I said, I'm home. That's why I always write I'm home.
Yeah.
I always put I'm home. I said I'm home, and Mom told me that our doctor, Dr. Reynolds, actually broke into tears because I was bleeding to death, and they couldn't stop me. He had lost me. And when I sat up and said I'm home, my face was down over a hole, and that's where I was bleeding. And after that, they put me into recovery. But I've always wondered about that. Always wondered about that.
Ray, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Were you put under with ether?
Yes.
The reason I'm asking this is because when I was 6 years old, I had to have my tonsils out also. As you say, we had to have our tonsils.
Yeah.
Did you have your adenoids out at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, anyway, they put me under with ether, and I didn't have that happen exactly, but I almost bled to death from it, but I didn't see a light or anything like that. I remember this, I felt like I was drowning. But the only time I had an experience that I really think I was at heaven's outskirts, you might say, is when I got ran over, which I was talking about earlier a while ago. When that happened, I remember when taking me off of the ambulance, I saw my brother who had burned up in a fire. And I asked him, what are you doing here? He says, I'm just making sure you're going to be all right.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Well, you guys know that a year ago, last October, I also had a near-death experience. I actually knew I was dying. And I told Hammer, I said, I'm sorry, I'm dying. And I knew I had this most peaceful, wonderful feeling. And I had this feeling that all I needed to do was move forward one step and I would have been gone. And he actually stopped me, and hearing my mother's voice in the background, hysterical, you know, do I call 911? Do I call 911? That kind of made me come back and stop instead of moving forward. And then I rationalized in my mind, even though I wasn't really coherent, I rationalized in my mind that I needed to be here because I had the 3 children, my husband, and my mother, who all needed me. So I didn't move forward, but the doctors, there were 4 specialists when they actually got me into the trauma unit. There was 4 doctors, specialists, and they told me and my husband that only 3% of the people in the world that have massive pulmonary embolisms, 4 clots had gone through my heart, and they said only 3% survive. But I knew at that moment, I really did, And I can remember looking up at him and just saying, I'm sorry, I'm dying. And I knew that I was, but it was very peaceful, very comfortable.
That's how it was for me, at least. It was, I guess mine was a little bit more, I was a little concerned because it was not in color. That scared me really bad. And I never walked a day in my life, and I was standing. And it was just like so overwhelming. I'm going to kick my father-in-law's butt about now. That's him. He doesn't bother to call. You know what I'm saying? He ain't getting in. Anyway, there's nobody else here otherwise. Anyways, so what happened was mine was more like in a black and white, like a sepia thing. When I fell from my chair, I felt my throat closing. And I knew that I just had to sit tight and stay relaxed, or I was basically going to kill myself. And I did not want to have that happen. So I did, and I was going in and out of consciousness. On the ride to the ambulance, I lost consciousness or something. Now, I do remember being like kind of, feel like I was floating, but I wasn't like looking at my body or anything. So I get to the hospital, and they put me in this room, and everything just went haywire. And they have all this stuff hooked up to it, you know what I mean? And they hooked me up to this thing and the machines and stuff, and I swear, now I could not move my neck. They said my neck was broken, okay? I could not move my neck because it was in one of those things, you know, like the cone of shame. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, thinking, okay, this is not good. And I was just like fighting to stay alive, just fighting. And I can remember looking over and seeing the machines and what they said and everything, okay? My oxygen level was only 86.
Wow.
And that's, yeah. It, I could cry. I could just cry. You know what? All right. Let him call. We'll see what happens. Okay. So anyway, this is ridiculous because he's been doing this for about 15 minutes. It can't be that important. Anyways, everything was just in, like I said, it was like, and then I saw his picnic table, and there were these people over the picnic table. So I go over there. I wouldn't say walk. It was just like that. It was just going, you know? And I was not allowed to turn around. I know that much. It felt like there was two beings, like right here, and they were like, no, right? I saw my great-grandmother, who I'd never seen a day in my life, my grandfather, when he was young, which I'd never seen him like that, and two uncles and another woman, or an uncle and another woman, which I don't know who they were. So anyways, yeah, it was pretty creepy. They were having a picnic, and I didn't know who was who until about 2 years after the fact when I saw these pictures that my cousin had. And you want to talk about having a fit? I mean, I just sat there and I felt like I was just going to pass out. But anywho,
Dawn, were you walking?
Yeah, I wasn't like taking steps per se, but I was standing. I could feel a breeze on my legs. I was like you. I was wearing what I had on. I was taller, thank you, and you know, I was normal. I was fine. I was completely fine, and it was just an amazing thing. And hold on a minute, please.
I'm gonna have to leave for 1 second.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be right back.
Hold on. You gotta know better than this. Who is it? I'm very sorry. I'm going to have to talk to my husband about this. It seems to be a recurring thing. And I
What
won't
was
answer.
it?
There's nobody there. I thought I heard the door knock.
No, it was for Jewel, that the door
Oh, that
knocked.
was... Okay, sorry. Okay, well, anyways, now that he's pretty much ruined this hangout, I just cannot believe it. Anywho, I can't talk about that right now. Jay's heard this before. So, what happened was, I said, God, where are you? I can't see him. I couldn't see him. And I was like expecting, like Jesus or somebody, hello. And all of a sudden I looked up, and like you said, everything went white, just white. And I heard angels singing. I heard them
Wow.
clear as day. And the sound, I'm deaf. I'm legally deaf. I have, I think, profound hearing loss or something. Anyways, it was so loud, it consumes your body, but it doesn't hurt, if that makes sense. And they were singing Hosanna in the highest. I kid you not. And I was freaking out. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to wrestle a tiger. So we're going to cut this short. Actually, we're about there anyway. So I want to apologize about the obnoxiousness. And we are going to try this soon because I really, really enjoyed this. Did you guys have fun? I'm sorry?
I said I apologize for having to step out a moment ago.
I thought your door knock was my door knock.
You both went to answer the door.
That's funny. That is funny. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And I appreciate you guys coming. I really do. And I'm sure that I was all prepared for this, and that was a distraction. And you know how I am. ADD.
How do you get these set up? I've got to figure it out.
Oh, well, it took me a few times. That may have messed people up too, but it messed me up a couple times.
Well, I sure appreciate the invite. I absolutely love this. And
oh, I love you. You are Mother Nature. I'm telling you. Now I know why.
Well, there's a lot of things that we can discuss, that is beyond all of the world happenings.
And I want to.
Oh, yeah. I think it'd be great.
And
Joel, I love you. Dawn, I love you. You guys are awesome.
I love you guys too. I love them. I love all of you guys. Love the viewers. Love everybody.
I do too.
And I thank you guys for being my friends.
Absolutely, and we thank you.
Most definitely.
We'll meet again.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna get out of here so you can answer that.
Okay. Love you
Love
guys.
you.
Bye, buddy. Bye.
Love and hugs. Bye. Okay, stay with